Hey there, I'm the Mad Catster. Am I glad to see you here? Well, we've got some interesting facts that have developed about Ace Fest in the Summer of Soul Festival, but also I have some news on the financial dire straits of the Ace family and what's going on with that soon-to-be disaster of a boxing event that Austin is planning for the crypto arena. I've got all the receipts. Come with me and let's get into it. Well, thank you for joining me, everybody, to hear about the latest that I've discovered or noticed or observed. And one of my Mad Catster spies turned me on to this fact because it had escaped Mr. Shady's notice. But there seems to be some more parallels between the Summer of Soul Festival and Ace Fest. And I'm going to talk to you about those in just a minute. And the lead up to this Ace, whatever it's going to be, I hesitate to call it a fest, given that it's dwindled down to less and less attractions and events, but we'll see. I'm going to tell you about that in just a second, but I'm also going to talk to you about the latest on what's going on with that catastrophe in the making of a boxing event that Austin McBroom is planning as a comeback of sorts from the fiasco and failure of last year's event. Why he thinks he's going to do better this time, I'm not quite sure. I'm also not quite sure why he's shooting for the crypto arena. Because, you know, it's Austin McBroom. I guess it's always got to be big, 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 right? It can't just be, let's take it easy and maybe do it at Starbucks, you know, because that might hold the entire crowd. But anyway, so I digress. Sybil, the enforcer, I'm hoping is going to make an appearance. She's still not feeling that great. Sorry. I may have to get the doctor to give her steroids. Let's get into the latest about Ace Fest. Mr. Shady, I turn it over to you. Well, thank you very much. Hello, gentle viewers. It's great to be with you again. And no, Mr. Shady is not dressed all in black today, but it seems to be a quirk of the camera that for some reason, the camera thinks that my Kelly green shirt is a giant green screen. So I thought, well, you know, the all black, it's kind of working because, you know, this is kind of a wake or funeral of sorts for the Ace mess that's going on, the two events. So I said, well, I'm not going to fix it. I'm just going to leave the black. I think it looks good. So what do you think? Tell me down in the comments. Anyways, so we talked last time about how Ace Fest is dwindling and they've gotten rid of, first they got rid of the petting zoo, and I'm not talking about the goats anymore because I'm just trying to get over it. And also then they got rid of the live performers. So now we have access to free prizes, which I don't quite understand what that means. And some of you mentioned that in the comments too. What does that mean, access to free prizes? Does that mean there's going to be like a cupboard that we're going to be able to go to and just select some free prizes? I'm assuming that you're supposed to win the prizes, you know. I mean, I have access to a lot of things. The Macy's is that way, and I don't think they'd appreciate it if I just helped myself. So what does access mean? We'll have to just wait and find out. And I've also, one of my spies turned me on to the fact that the Summer of Soul is no longer apparently talking about performers at their event. Also, I'm talking about musical performers. So, Mr. Shady said, could this be a coincidence? We know there are a lot of coincidences in McBroom land. And we've talked about how there's speculation that maybe because they're sharing the space, that there was some piggybacking going on. But now, you'll see here, I'll put this up, you'll see that the Summer Soul Festival has removed any mention of musical acts. And in their prior advertising had talked about there would be live musical performances. And coincidentally, the Ace family is now not talking about performances. So, what do you think, people? Tell me down below. Is this just a coincidence? Or do you think there's more to the story that we haven't heard yet? You can see here now, the Ace Fest, what they're offering, and what they're offering for the Summer of Soul. By the way, Summer of Soul, tell me if I'm wrong, but doesn't that suggest music? You know, when you think of soul, you don't generally think of magic shows, car shows, and games for kids. I mean, soul is like music. I also noticed another similarity between these two events. There are no specifics on either of these sites. The Summer of Soul website has not been updated, other than what I just talked about, to include any sponsors. There's no specifics about events or the food or anything. It's just really weird. It's like both of these events are so haphazardly thrown together, or that's the appearance. Now, I don't know the Summer of Soul organizers, so it just could be that they haven't updated their website and they've got more planning done that they're not sharing. I don't know. But you'll also note, I'll put it up here as well, that the sold out Ace Fest still has tickets available for the sold out event. So, Sloan, if you're listening, the sold out event that you slowed the ticket sales down for still has tickets available, even though it's sold out. So, it's so ridiculous. It really is. I can't help but laugh. Apparently, you'll also see here on this next thing I'm going to put up, the Ace family's having what we would call in the retail industry a fire sale on their merchandise. Because apparently, not only can't they sell tickets to events, but they can't sell merchandise either. Because you'll note, like, there's t-shirts on here going for $4.95. Now, the cost has to be higher than that, or about that. So either they're just letting it go at cost, I don't know. But apparently, Ace Family merch isn't what it used to be. I haven't seen any real original designs. And do you remember they showed us all of those like sweat pants and sweatshirts with the Ace Fest like logo that they had created on them? And, you know, we had talked about how bizarre it was that they created these heavy garments for something happening in July in the desert. And then all of a sudden, poof, mysteriously, I don't see any more of that Ace Fest merchandise for sale. So, I don't know. It's just bad news all around for them. So, speaking of bad news, let's talk about this boxing event coming up. So, now it looks like Austin has 3 or 4 headliners, if you can call them headliners, appearing with, but of course, besides Austin, who we all know is the most famous of them all. And you can see here, I'm going to put this up. This is all. And remember, he said every week we're going to be releasing the names of who's on the card and the undercard and the headliners. And they made it sound like they're just this anticipation that they were slowly going to leak it out. Well, where's the leak? Because all I see are just the same few names that have been bandied about for months now. I don't see any new people being put here. So this is going to be one small event, I think. So look at here. So you have here, it talks about that Blueface versus Nick Young on the undercard of the new Ace Social Gloves event, where Austin McBroom and Anderson Gibb are the headliners. And of course, all of these people, if we follow Austin's logic, all of these people should come away from this with millions of followers and we should get billions of impressions on this event, right? So this is what we got. Blueface, who apparently is an LA area rapper, and Nick Young, who is I believe a football player, or was a football player. And then we've got, and this, on June 7th, this was announced, and like I said, there's been really not much else being said, ex-Laker Le'Veon Bell on the undercard. So we've got Austin and Anderson Gibb, and then we've got Le'Veon Bell, and we've got Blueface and Nick Young. So wasn't this supposed to be another social media type event where we had people from social media like TikTok and YouTube fighting, and Social Gloves, sort of that's where the name came from, and Austin was promoting this as like the next round of this social media boxing phenomenon? But I don't see any social media personalities. Do you? I see 2 sports figures and a rapper. And then we've got Anderson Gibb. Anderson Gibb and Austin are really the only 2 social media personalities at this event. So this is not TikTok versus YouTube 2. So it's interesting too that on June 7th, Sportskeeda had published something about this upcoming boxing event. And they talk about how Austin says, I lost millions on Social Gloves. Well, you didn't really lose millions. You just didn't earn the millions that you thought you were going to in your one-man show wisdom of, I can put on a successful event with nobody's help, and we see history repeating itself, but we'll wait till that fiasco is over and done with before we pass judgment on it. It says here, Austin McBroom is ready to move past his social gloves YouTubers versus TikTokers boxing controversy. The Ace Family patriarch took to his Instagram profile sharing the event participants had been paid. Well, he didn't say they had been paid, if you'll recall. He said they had been compensated. So we know that the $3 million that LiveXLive had held in escrow after the event that was part of the settlement of the lawsuits, that was not even a fraction of what needed to be paid out if he was going to pay the performers what they were promised. So they got, like we said before, pennies on the dollar, you know. This article, this puff piece here is really a joke because they didn't get paid, and I'm glad he's ready to move past it, but I know there are a lot of people who are not, and I think that's why you see such little enthusiasm to participate in this particular event that's coming up. And I think somebody ought to get on the phone and call up the 3 or 4 people that have agreed to participate and say, have you guys read the headlines in this story about what happened after Austin McBroom's first boxing event? Because you might want to think long and hard and be sure you get your money up front. Otherwise, you may be walking away with just millions of followers and no money. Just saying, just an idea. Somebody might want to let them know and give them a tip off. There's no stampede rush of people coming to participate in this event. And I'm really curious to take a look this week and see just how many tickets have been sold to this event at Crypto Arena. I suspect Crypto Arena is going to be quite empty and there are going to be a lot of people sitting down on the floor by the ring because I guarantee you the rest of the stadium is going to be dark because there's not going to be anybody there. And somebody had pointed out in one of the other channels I've been watching that the prices that, if you go and look, the ticket prices are absolutely absurd. You know, this isn't Mike Tyson fighting. This is Austin McBroom. You know, it's like I might pay $1.50 and go see him play, but I'm not going to pay $500 to go see it. It's just ridiculous. So we'll see how that develops out. But I wanted to leave you with one last thing. So just so you know, people have expressed their concern about my safety going to Ace Fest. And I want to share with you the assurances I've gotten from the Ace family. And before I do that, somebody had said to me, oh, I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere in the fine print it says that the Ace Fest is subject to change. Well, I can tell you after scouring both their website and also looking at the ticket sales on Eventbrite, there's no disclaimer. They don't say, oh, you know, event subject to change or modification. Nope. So you can see here, I'm going to put this up because there are just a couple of things I want to point out. It says that all tickets will be issued through Eventbrite, and that if you bought a ticket before the tickets went to Eventbrite after it sold out, and they started selling it on Eventbrite, they're going to send an Eventbrite ticket by email to you so that everybody will have an Eventbrite ticket. And the ticket that I have has like a QR code on it to read. But you'll also see tickets can be canceled and a full refund issued before 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on May 9th, 2022. After that time, no cancellations or refunds will be issued. Please email the acefamilyfest@gmail.com for more information. Well, we were talking about, and I've sort of been chatting with people in the comments from my last video, that yes, it's fraudulent. They're not delivering what they promised. Edith is here. Delivering what they promised for this event, because they've now watered it down and scaled it back so that it's not the event that people paid $120 for a single ticket to go see. So the fact that they're refusing to offer refunds and the fact that there is no disclaimer, and even if they added a disclaimer now, it would be too late because people have bought their tickets. You can't add a disclaimer after the fact. But there was no disclaimer when people bought their tickets saying this might change. So it's fraud, in my opinion, and it's a breach of contract for the tickets that have been purchased. So anybody listening, after the event comes and goes and we see exactly that it's not what it was promised to be, there's nothing stopping people from filing a lawsuit in court and alleging breach of contract. Now, mind you, we've talked about this before. That doesn't mean you can ask for like thousands and thousands of dollars worth of damages. You're only going to be entitled to your actual damages So if you sue them in small claims court, you'll get your money back plus your costs, and that's it. So it's a small return, but if it floats your boat, you would probably be perfectly within your rights to file a lawsuit against them for not delivering what they promised in the contract that was made between the buyer of the ticket and them. Okay? So, but this is what I wanted to point out. I was talking about safety. So there's a lot of things in here, and I will give them props, okay, for this. They say no pets allowed except for service animals, and I'm going to assume this is probably Catherine putting this in because she's probably, I know I pick on her, but I think she does have a little bit of a soul. I don't think she's like the devil. And, you know, people say to me, oh, you pick on the ace. You know, I'm not picking on them. You know, people, when they do stupid things, like I've said before, I'm going to call them out, you know. All I'm doing is reporting on the stupid things they've done. I'm not picking on them. I've had not so many. Really, I'm so happy that I really don't get very many negative comments. But I've had like a few people who have been like, oh, you're picking on them. And, you know, of course, then they have to throw my perceived age in there. And, you know, oh, pick on someone your own age, someone said the other day. And I was like, pick on someone my own age? It's like, what? Since when is there like an age requirement for criticism? You know, it's like, really? So you're basically just prejudiced and you're a bigot against people who are older than you. So, sorry, but I'm perfectly within my rights to criticize them because they keep doing stupid stuff. But I will give them credit for this, like I was saying, where they said that no animals are to be left in vehicles during the fest. And for the love of God, if you're going, please heed that warning. And thank you, Ace Family, for putting that in there. Animals die all the time from being left in a car, and people are like, oh, I'll crack the windows and I'm just going to be... No. You do not leave an animal in a car when it's hot out. Ever, 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 ever. Because what you think is going to be a harmless couple of minutes, those cars turn into roasters, even with the windows cracked, and that animal is either going to be severely injured or die. Please don't ever leave your animal in a hot car. Thank you. But this is the thing that got me, that I wanted to point out to those of you who are worried about my safety. It says, all City of Lancaster community events are gang-free. No colors events. So don't worry, I'm safe, because this little disclaimer is going to make sure that there are no gangs or gang members at this event. So, you know, like that's going to keep them out, right? Not that I think any gang member has any interest in going to the Ace Fest, you know, to ride the kiddie ride, but I just thought that was kind of funny. It's like, okay, so, all right. So if you say so, it's like saying, oh, there will be no violence at this event. So, yeah. Okay. So anyways, that's my update for you. So I really thought it was interesting. I really did want to point out to you that there still seems to be a tracking parallel between Summer of Soul Festival and Ace Fest. And they both seem to be evolving in the kind of entertainment or the amount of entertainment that they're offering. But the one thing I can say in defense of the Soul Fest is that their ticket was only $15. So if you get a magic show and a car show and some rides and games, I think that's $15 worth of your money. But $120 to go to Ace Fest, where there's practically nothing but you get to say hello to the Ace family? Not so much. Okay? Give me your thoughts down below. Tell me, what do you think of this ever-evolving situation? Tell me down below in the comments. Tell me what you think is going to happen. What do you think about the similarities between these two events? And I keep digging. I suspect there's got to be some connection between the people organizing that festival and the Ace Festival. Both Austin and the organizer of the Summer of Soul, they both were from Palmdale. And I'm just thinking there's got to be a connection. And I'm trying to find it, and I just haven't found it yet. But I'll still keep looking. But tell me down below what you think. Like and subscribe, please. Sybil is not here. I'm really sorry, you guys, but she's not feeling good. And even though her energy level is good again, and she is walking around, and she's giving me attitude like she always does, and that's a very good sign. That means the antibiotics are working. But I think she needs the steroids to completely... Squirt. I'm telling you, there are 2 scratching posts in spitting distance, and he scratches the carpet. It's like, they drive me crazy. Thank God I gave up buying expensive carpets, because by the time 15 cats get done frolicking on these roll-up rugs and it's time to throw them out, I don't have to worry about it because I haven't really spent very much money on them. But anyway, so thank you so much for joining me. Like and subscribe. Please join our community. It only takes a second. And I would really appreciate it. I would really appreciate your support for a small channel like mine, as I try to grow and try to keep up the level of work that I've been doing in research and entertainment. Hopefully a lot of you seem to be entertained, so I'm glad. That means my job is done. This is an outlet for me from my days in court and my horribly stressful days with dealing with all kinds of not so pleasant defendants and other attorneys who represent them sometimes. So I love doing this. It's an outlet for me. So please like and subscribe. Thank you to the Amazon angels who have continued to shower my little kids with gifts that we greatly appreciate from you. We got 2 more cat beds in the last couple of days. So now we've got about half of the cats have their own bed. So there's still some fighting going on, but they pretty much have claimed beds. So the ones that haven't been able to claim a bed, so we're slowly getting enough beds that hopefully they'll each have one that they can call their own, and there won't be any of this sibling infighting. So thank you very much. And thank you to the Patreon patrons. You guys are so great, and I appreciate your support. And I also appreciate all of the channel members who continue to come on board and the people who buy me a cup of coffee. You guys are the best community on YouTube. I am so glad to have you as part of this community. And if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe and join this great community. We have a great discourse and interaction that goes on in the comments. By the way, I respond to every comment. So not many channels can say that. I take my time. It may take me a couple of days depending on how many comments are flooding in, but I go through and I respond to every single comment. So I try to keep this a very close-knit community. So come and join us, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.
Pretty please. Subscribe, like, and hit the bell. I get a treat for every new sub. Thank you.